I have an intro for an intro, which is always really fun. But this guy in history, he's really, really important. In fact, he's found on the $10 bill. So if you don't know, that's Alexander Hamilton. He died in a duel with Aaron Burr. There you go, Brandon, duel. And so in this duel, he has this moment of revelation that a lot of historians believe he has. And so I have a video from the Broadway show that you guys get to hear.
I imagine death so much it feels more like a memory. Is this where it gets me? On my feet, several feet ahead of me. I see it coming. Do I run or fire my gun or let it be? There is no beat, no melody. Burr, my first friend, my enemy. Maybe the last face I ever see. If I throw away my shot, is this how you remember me? What if this bullet is my legacy? Legacy. What is a legacy? It's planting seeds in a garden you never get to see. I wrote some notes at the beginning of a song someone will sing for me. America, you great unfinished symphony, you sang for me. You let me make a difference, a place where even orphan immigrants can leave their fingerprints and rise up. I'm running out of time, I'm running and my time's up. Wise up, eyes up. I catch a glimpse of the other side. Lawrence leads a soldier's chorus on the other side. My son is on the other side. He's with my mother on the other side. Washington is watching from the other side. Teach me how to say goodbye. Rise up, rise up, rise up, and rise up. My love, take your time. I'll see you on the other side. Raise a glass to freedom. He aims his pistol at the sky.
That was pretty intense. It's actually pretty surprising just how much Alexander gave. For those of you that like to be able to have money, raise your hands. You can thank Hamilton for that. For those of you that like the fact that we have a constitution that denies racism and denies slavery, allows women to vote, you can thank Hamilton for that. Because you see, at the beginning, Hamilton was like the lowest of the low. He was a dude from the middle of nowhere in the Bahamas, or whatever. He was in those islands. I remember, I failed geometry. Sorry, geography. I actually passed geometry with 111. But I did not do well in geography. Regardless, he came from nowhere. He had nothing at the beginning, but he built up everything. He and two other men, John Jay and James Madison, were supposed to write 25 essays in the span of 6 months so that the Constitution could be accepted. Well, here's the deal. John Jay got sick after writing 5 essays. James Madison wrote 29. Hamilton, in the span of 6 months, wrote 81. 51. I can't count. Apparently, I also failed regular math. So he's doing all of this, he's building all of this up, and in every moment, he's moving and acting and doing all of these things. Yet he squanders it on a duel. He died in that duel. He didn't walk away. He was survived by his wife, Eliza, and 7 kids. He died not even 100 feet away from where his son died. He built up this legacy in this amazing place that we get to call home, a place where we get to say whatever we want, and we get to worship God whenever we want. And he threw it away on a duel. But a lot of historians believe that he actually had a moment with his wife, Eliza. He had a moment where he was able to say, take it and run. Eliza died at 94, and they were the same age. He died at 43. She had so much more time. She had all of this time to build up everything he did and all of that stuff. She ran with his legacy. She built the Washington Monument, or rather raised funds to build the Washington Monument. She started the first private orphanage in New York City. She found every single soldier he served with and told their stories too. This is someone who, at all costs, desired to give away her legacy, or the legacy that was given to her. And I'd like to talk about someone that did give away his legacy in Scripture. In 2 Kings 15, 2 Kings 2:15, my bad. We see it. Now, oh dang, I lost my place. I am so sorry. 2 Kings 2. Oh my gosh. I am such a bad person. 11, thank you. I appreciate it. Oh yeah, that's right, it's up there, isn't it? 2 Kings 2:11. As they were going along and talking, behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, which separated the two of them. And Elisha went up by a whirlwind to heaven. Elisha saw it and cried out, my father, the chariots of Israel and its horsemen. And he saw Elijah no more. Then he took hold of his own clothes and tore them in two pieces. He also took up the mantle of Elijah. That fell from him and struck the waters and said, where is the Lord, the God of Elijah? And when he had struck the waters, they were divided here and there. And Elijah crossed over. So we see this moment between Elijah and Elisha, where Elijah is now passing on everything he's done, but doing more than that. You see, in a couple verses earlier, we see Elisha ask Elijah, I want a double portion of what you've got. Everything you did, all the stuff you did, all the amazing acts you did for God, I want twice that. Not because he was prideful, not because of all these things, but because he wanted to glorify God more. He wanted to be able to do more. He wanted to be able to reach up and do so much more. Like Alexander did. Like his wife chose to do. But unlike some people do. How many of you remember the box from Jacob's message? The box that we choose to put God in. The box that some people leave for others to pick up. In this box is a Bible. It belonged to a man. And I talk to his kids fairly regularly. And they constantly compare me to him. Saying, he would have been so proud. You were doing the exact same things he did. And then I finally heard the story of him. He sat in the chair and he read his Bible. And then he walked away and left it there. I'm that. The man who read his Bible every day also spat out racial slurs whenever he was drunk. That's all. Awesome, thanks. I love that you're comparing me to that. I love carrying that legacy. I love how you put that legacy on me. Why do I even want it? Why do I want that legacy? Why would you even compare me to someone like that? Someone who spits horrible things at other people. Someone who doesn't even speak to his children about what he's reading every day. Why are you comparing me to that? That's not the legacy I want to leave behind. That's not the legacy of who I am. That's nothing. You're taking everything you're reading and you're leaving it in the chair? Are you even reading it? Do you even get it? So that's how you're comparing me? That's what you're doing? And every time I hear my own name, I remember it. Because it wasn't just a stranger. He's where I get my name. He was my great-grandfather. His name is Troy Irwin. So every time my grandmother talks about him, compares me to him, it reminds me. He fell into addictions and didn't help himself. He didn't find himself at the feet of Jesus begging for help. He sat there in that chair and he just read. He taught his children to be prideful and greedy. And that's what you're putting on me? That's the legacy I have to live with? No, I don't want that. I'll make my own.
That's right.
There's another person who left his legacy. His name is Elisha. In 2 Kings 13, it's going to say it should be 20. Fantastic. In 2 Kings 13:20, it says, Elisha died and they buried him. Now the bands of the Moabites would invade the land in the spring of the year. As they were burying the man, behold, they saw a marauding band. And they cast the man into the grave of Elisha. And when the man touched the bones of Elisha, he revived and stood up on his feet. His legacy that he left behind was so powerful, it could raise a man from the dead with just touching his bones. I want you to recognize that. A legacy so powerful and so influential, it could raise someone from the dead after he was already dead. Why did he just leave it with his bones? Why didn't he pass it on? Why didn't he find who was going to be the next prophet and give it to him and teach him and do all of these things? Why did he leave it in the freaking chair? Eventually, someone comes along and picks up the legacy. Whether by force or thrust into their hands, they have to pick it up. Because it's there. It's not going to go away. Because in all of this, in everything that he did, I still have his name. I still remember his name every day because it's mine. And I can't even escape it with my middle name because I'm named after his father. And then my last name, I don't even want to talk about it. I don't even know what that side of the family's doing. I don't want to know. Oh, good Lord, I don't want to know. But the legacy they're leaving behind, I don't know. I think I have like 8 relatives that have had kids before they turned 20. Most of them before they turned 18. Come on. Come on. They know what being drunk is like before they turn 10. Come on, someone. Please, why are you giving me this legacy to live with? Why are you being behind me, destroying everything I wanted to create? Well, today that stops. My name is Troy Andrew Morphus. My family is that of drunkards, of racist people, of horrible human beings. But my kids and their kids will never know it. Not because I won't teach them, because I want them to understand where they come from. But because I refuse to let them understand how it is to be that way. My kids won't ever be able to call me something horrible because I refuse to be that. I refuse to put God in a box. I refuse to let that box define me. I refuse for someone 5 or 6 generations down the road to pick up a Bible and say, this was owned by my grandfather who never did anything. I refuse. Because this legacy that we leave behind, it's more important than we think. Legacy, it's a term that's used for so many different reasons. One of the worst of them is emotional blackmail. By just saying, the legacy you're leaving behind is garbage. The legacy you're leaving behind is nothing to be proud of. Okay? Why are you putting this on me? This is the legacy that I'm leaving behind because this is the best I've got. This is all I've got. Yet you're constantly pushing me by saying I'm not good. I'm worthless. How is that encouragement? How is that anything but emotional blackmail? By calling someone out and saying, the legacy that you have is garbage now. Awesome, thanks. I enjoy it so much. I've had teachers, I've had instructors, I've had pastors even tell me the legacy I'm leaving behind is one of pain and hurt. I never intended for that, and I'm sorry. I walk into every situation with the best of intentions. But that stops. Because in order to leave a good legacy, I can't leave mine. I have to leave his. I can't ever leave a legacy that's worthy. So why would I ever want to leave mine? My legacy can only be that of the world. But his legacy can change lives. His legacy can move mountains. His legacy can destroy people's pain. His legacy doesn't stop with me, though. I have to pass it on. I have to move it on with someone else. I have to give it. I can't just hold on to it because I'm greedy, because I want more. I have to do more with it.
That's right.
This legacy is so much more than we could ever ask for. It's more than we've ever wanted. This legacy is one where we're supposed to denounce hatred and encourage love.
Amen.
This legacy isn't just something that we get to walk away from and come back to, and walk away from and come back to. It's not the chair. We have to get rid of the chair, walk over to the microphone. We have to speak up for those that can't. We have to speak up to those that don't know. For those of you that may not be aware, today, 17 years ago, something really did happen. About 4 hours ago, give or take. What's the legacy we left behind from that? What's the legacy that we gave them? All the anger, the hatred? I want you to close your eyes for a second. I want you to imagine this little girl. Her clothes are tattered and torn. Blood is coming down off her forehead. There's dust everywhere. You can see fire off in the distance. And she's not even in New York. It's 2015, and it's the bombings in Syria. What about the little girl in Afghanistan who has a bomb strapped to her chest and she has to walk up to someone? All of these things, this legacy that we've left behind, all of these lives, over 500,000 lives were lost in this war because we chose revenge and hatred instead of leaving behind this legacy that he so desperately asked us to leave behind, of love and of caring and of just human life has such importance. What if I told you we can change that? What if I told you we didn't have to? What if I told you that it could start right now? These moments are given to us for a reason. I don't want anyone to raise their hands, but how many of you pray for the victims from 9/11? How many of you pray for the hijackers' families? How many of you pray for those that trained them? Weren't we called to love our enemies? Weren't we called to love the people that hated us the most in the world? Weren't we called to just be there for them? Because they're lost. They've been so confused and so given up on. How are they supposed to ever find us if they're so lost in the dark? Church. And yes, I'm calling you the church because we are that. We have to do something. We have to be more. We have to be better than the people that came before us because their legacy is one of anger and hatred. What if we changed it to love and acceptance? What if we did more? Now, obviously, I'm not saying to not pray for the people that were hurt on their home turf. I'm not saying to not pray for the soldiers that are fighting that because we want them to come home too. But what about praying for the people that are shooting at them? Aren't they the ones that need it the most? They're on a cause that's only going to lead them to eternal damnation. Let's change the legacy that we have, not just as a church, but as a nation. Let's be more. Let's love the people that hate us. As we go into this time of worship, I want us to build a house of prayer. I want us to pray for everyone that no one would ever think about. God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for all that you give us, and we thank you for every moment. I thank you for this time where I get to speak to my fellow classmates, and I pray that they just recognize everything that we all need to do. But God, above all, I pray for the people that no one would pray for. I pray for the people that are lost, not just in darkness, but in hatred and anger and bitterness. God, it is in your holy, precious, and victorious name that every day will be won. Amen.